In February 2020, a significant event unfolded at Phala Phala, the private game farm owned by South African President Cyril Ramaphosa, located near Bela Bela in Limpopo province. This incident, which came to be known as the Phala Phala robbery or Farmgate scandal, involved the theft of a substantial sum of foreign currency from the property. The circumstances surrounding the theft, the subsequent handling of the situation, and the political ramifications have been subjects of extensive investigation and debate. The initial reports indicated that on February 9, 2020, burglars infiltrated the Phala Phala game farm and absconded with a considerable amount of cash. Former state security agency head Arthur Fraser alleged that approximately $4 million were stolen from the premises. However, President Ramaphosa later stated that the amount was $580,000, which he claimed were proceeds from the sale of buffaloes to a Sudanese businessman. The discrepancy in the reported amounts fueled suspicions and led to calls for a thorough investigation into the source and handling of the funds. The manner in which the theft was addressed raised further questions. It was alleged that instead of reporting the incident through conventional law enforcement channels, the matter was handled internally by the Presidential Protection Unit. This approach led to accusations of a cover-up and prompted scrutiny regarding the legality and ethics of the response. Critics questioned why such a significant sum of foreign currency was held at the farm and why standard reporting procedures were seemingly bypassed. In June 2022, Arthur Fraser lodged a criminal complaint against President Ramaphosa, accusing him of money laundering, corruption, and obstructing justice related to the Phala Phala incident. These allegations intensified the political pressure on the president and sparked widespread debate within South Africa's political landscape. Opposition parties and civil society organizations demanded accountability and transparency, leading to multiple investigations by various state institutions. The South African Reserve Bank conducted an inquiry into the matter to determine whether there had been any violations of foreign exchange regulations. In its findings released in 2023, the Reserve Bank concluded that there was insufficient evidence to prove that President Ramaphosa had contravened any exchange control regulations. This conclusion was met with mixed reactions, with some viewing it as a vindication of the president, while others criticized the investigation as lacking depth and failing to address key concerns. Parallel to the Reserve Bank's investigation, the Public Protector's Office undertook its own probe into the allegations. In March 2023, Acting Public Protector Koleka Koleka released a report stating that there was no evidence to suggest that President Ramaphosa had engaged in any wrongdoing concerning the Phala Phala matter. The report emphasized that the president had reported the theft to the head of his security detail, which was deemed an appropriate action under the circumstances. Despite this finding, some opposition figures and legal experts questioned the thoroughness of the investigation and called for further scrutiny. The National Prosecuting Authority, NPA, also examined the case to assess the viability of pursuing criminal charges. In October 2024, the NPA announced that it would not be prosecuting President Ramaphosa or any suspects involved in the case, citing a lack of sufficient evidence to ensure a reasonable prospect of a successful prosecution. This decision was met with criticism from various quarters, with the Democratic Alliance, a major political party, calling for a review of the NPA's decision and expressing concerns about transparency and accountability in the handling of the case. The political implications of the Phala Phala scandal were profound. In late 2022, an independent panel appointed by the South African Parliament found evidence suggesting that President Ramaphosa may have committed serious misconduct in relation to the incident. This finding led to heightened calls for impeachment proceedings. However, in December 2022, the Parliament voted against initiating an impeachment process, with 214 members opposing and 148 supporting the motion. The African National Congress, ANC, the ruling party, largely rallied behind President Ramaphosa, enabling him to retain his position despite the controversy. The scandal also had implications for South Africa's international reputation. Questions were raised about the country's commitment to combating corruption and upholding the rule of law. The incident underscored the challenges facing South Africa's democratic institutions and highlighted the need for greater transparency and accountability in governance. In the legal arena, The case saw developments involving the alleged perpetrators of the theft. 3 individuals accused of breaking into the Phala Phala farm and stealing the cash appeared in court in October 2024. The case was postponed to allow for further investigation, and the suspects faced charges of housebreaking and theft. The proceedings attracted significant public and media attention, reflecting the high stakes and widespread interest in the outcome. Throughout the unfolding of the Phala Phala saga, President Ramaphosa maintained his innocence, asserting that the funds in question were the legitimate proceeds from the sale of game and that he had acted appropriately in response to the theft. Despite the various investigations clearing him of wrongdoing, the incident left a lasting impact on his presidency and the political landscape of South Africa. The Phala Phala incident serves as a complex case study in the intersection of politics, law, and public perception. It highlights the challenges inherent in addressing allegations of misconduct at the highest levels of government and underscores the importance of robust, transparent institutions capable of upholding accountability and the rule of law. The varied responses from different branches of government and independent bodies reflect the intricate dynamics of South Africa's democratic processes and the ongoing struggle to balance political considerations with legal and ethical standards. In conclusion, the Phala Phala robbery and its aftermath encapsulate a multifaceted narrative involving allegations of misconduct, legal investigations, political maneuvering, and broader implications for governance and public trust in South Africa. While President Ramaphosa emerged without formal charges, the incident sparked critical discourse on issues of transparency, accountability, and the integrity of democratic institutions in the country.